Hello everybody, yes, how are we all doing? It is the Fredders93 here, and welcome back to another edition of Football with Fredders, your weekly Wednesday football chat show here on the channel. Now, as we are approaching December, we are starting to approach the January transfer window as well, not just a halfway point in the season, where teams will be looking at any permanent transfers or loan transfers, or maybe they'll play the pre-contract game as well, we don't know. You don't tend to see that many pre-contract transfers happening outside of FIFA. I mean, I'm sure if you had us FIFA players in charge of teams, that'd probably be a completely different story, especially the ones that like to abuse the pre-contract game. However, how else do we know that we appear to be close to another transfer window? Well, as a Newcastle fan, we can very happily answer this question very easily for you. It's because Takeover Talk seems to be back once again. Now, we know that this subject has even been touched on in Parliament recently, and particularly with the Department of the Digital Culture, Media and Sport. And a lot of people have actually written into their MPs, not just in the North East as well, like from all over for some as well. One person even wrote to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak. Now, on Tuesday, the response that Rishi Sunak had sent to said fan got shared on Twitter, and that, of course, one or two papers sort of like make news about that, so it appears Takeover Talk has reared its ugly head once again. Now, we know that there's probably one or two sort of complications with this takeover deal, bearing in mind that Mike Ashley does currently have legal proceedings going on against the Premier League purely from the handling of the takeover, where, of course, Amanda Staveley, the Reuben Brothers Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, just after weeks and weeks and weeks of waiting for the owner's director's test, just pulled the plug on the deal. This has been touched on in a previous video on this channel before. It will appear, I will get this right one day. It will appear this side of on this bit of the screen right now. That does, of course, that was when I did my face reveal on that when I talked about the subject in the first place. Now, as a Newcastle fan, we'd like to think that Takeover Talk will go away at some point, but unfortunately it doesn't. We have had this regularly in previous transfer window build-ups. So we've had it the first time that Amanda Staveley and the PCP Capital Partners went to buy the club. We've had it when Sheikh Khalid Ben Zayed Al Nahyan, the cousin of Man City owner Sheikh Mansour, went to put in his bid for the club. We do know that he has since taken his interests elsewhere and has gone on to invest in Derby County. Whether that's been cleared or not is probably a different thing in itself. It may have a bid, it may not. Please don't hold me on to that. Then also Peter Kenyon supposedly had a deal on that, and the talk of that started building up sort of around about this time in the build up to a transfer window, didn't it? As Newcastle fans, we're sick of it because it seems to be sort of like one thing after another. The only positive that we seem to have had lately is that players can start training again ahead of the game against West Brom. It was a shame that the sudden breakout at Newcastle happened, that then forced a cancellation of our game against Aston Villa, because we had just pulled off a great result against Crystal Palace. So of course we were looking to build on that momentum, on that high, to then suddenly stop and essentially have a week off games and training and that. Just put a complete spanner in the works, I think. You'd like to think we would get somewhere with this takeover, but I'm guessing that will depend on sort of like the outcomes of the legal proceedings between Mike Ashley and the Premier League, as I've mentioned before. When that will happen, we just do not know, because the Premier League likes to keep silent, don't they, Mr. Masters? Let's see, what else has happened recently in football? Oh yes, so we've had the news of the bailout packages that the Premier League has agreed with the EFL to basically help support like teams in Leagues 1 and 2 with any sort of like financial losses that they've had due to the impact of what's happened this year. This was like the one positive for me that would have come out from Project Big Picture, which I think that should have been happening in the first place. It didn't need Project Big Picture to like try and do its thing to make the rest of the clubs sort of like sacrifice their votes, just handing their voting rights over to the teams in the Big Six. I should have done a video on that, sort of like when it happened, but I didn't. So if you didn't know what Project Big Picture supposedly was, look it up. That's all I'm gonna say. I will just, because this video may just take too long otherwise. But yeah, because lower down the leagues, you do have clubs who are sort of badly run, badly managed. Examples of that will have been Blackburn Rovers from the bits when they slipped down from the Premier League to League One, so like under the Venky's ownership. Even though I don't like talking about it as much as a Newcastle fan, the ownership of Sunderland, like you just saw them just going backwards and backwards because they keep going down, 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 don't they? But sort of a more public sort of like display of sort of like what bad ownership can do would be what happened to Bolton and Wigan Athletic as well, where former Premier League clubs have slumped down the leagues as well, and they're now playing in Leagues 2 and 1 respectively. So hopefully this is sort of like cash injection, and these bailouts will sort of like help these teams survive the rest of this current situation that we all find ourselves in, because all the while that they can't have fans in, they'll lose out on most of the money they make through matchday revenues, and if they don't have that, then obviously they can't then survive as a club. So those are the two main subjects I really wanted to touch on this week. So that'll do it for this week of Football with Redders. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, follow the social medias. Remember that we do have Fast Friday on Fridays and the FCA Career Mode usually on Sundays. And we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye for now.